This is the new Kia EV3 and it's basically the baby EV9. And this has a big shoe to fill because we love the EV9 here on the channel. In fact, this is regarded as what's going to be the best-selling EV for Kia in the UK, according to their president. So is it equipped to be that? Let's explore and find out. The Kia EV3 is going to be available in 3 trim levels. So we have the Air, we have the GT line and the GT line S. The one in this video today is the GT line S. You're going to have 2 battery options. So the 58.3 kWh battery and the 81.4 kWh battery option. So it depends on what kind of range you'd like. If you go for the GT line S, it's also going to have the option to have heat pump. It's not there as standard, unfortunately. The GT line S model with the 81.4 kWh battery with heat pump will cost you around £43,895. The Air version with 58.3 kWh battery, you're talking around £32,995. The long range, so the bigger battery Air, will cost you around £35,995. And if you go for the 81.4 kWh GT line, you're looking at £39,495. So all in all, reasonably priced. Right off the bat, I think this is going to be an award-winning car. It's compact, it actually looks really nice. It's got the same Kia EV9 design language if you look all around it. In fact, it's based on the same EGMP platform. Look at the star map headlights, which has that day running light there, which looks really cool. You got those cube lights there, individual lights, looks really nice as well. And then we have a Kia logo right in front of us here. Underneath this front, we have 25 litres of space there that you can store your charging cable. It's not the biggest, but it's enough to store your charge cable to keep things clear in the back. I love this pistachio green color and also this black contrasting color that they're going for here. It looks really good. There's no side curtains or anything like that on here. It's just nice and sort of monolithic in the way that it's done. It's not sculptured or anything like that on the front. It's just got this line that leads from the front all the way to the back and just looks really good. I just love the little shapes here and there. They've done really well when it comes to the design. My first glance at this, I was just like, this looks really good. It's a baby EV9. It's nice and compact, but still spacious though. On this, you can spec this up to different trim levels. So we have the GT line, we have the GT line S, and then we have the base level, which is the Air. But don't be fooled by the base level because they're all very well equipped as standard, which I think is pretty awesome. We look at the wheels here. This is the GT line S, by the way. So this has got everything, all singing and dancing stuff there. So we got big wheels on this. You can spec this up to 19-inch. So if you go for the Air, you're looking at 17-inch, but the GT line and the GT line S will come with the bigger wheels. I love the wheel design as well. We've got the charging port here. This is based on a 400-volt architecture. So on the GT line S, you're talking 10% to 80% in around 31 minutes. And if you go for the lower trim levels, then you would charge a bit faster because we do get a smaller battery in those one. Over here, we get the pop-out door handle, which is good. It helps with the drag coefficient. You're talking 0.263 drag, which is really good. It's very, very efficient in this car, which we'll talk about more once we get inside. And then we look at the back. They're not trying to make things look compact on the back because then that affects the headroom for people sitting in the back, which is good. And then here, we get a door handle that sits flush with the back door. Again, just helping with the drag and the aerodynamic nature of the car. Then it curves here, which is really nice as well. Helps direct wind in the right direction, which is great. And then over on the back, we get the spoiler that kind of sits flush with the rest of the car as well. So it's not trying to stick out to look overly sporty, which is fine. And then you get your camera there for reverse camera. And then we have the Kia logo there as well. And then again, the same design language when it comes to that tail light, which looks good. I think it looks sharp on the front and the back as well. Inside of the boot, we get a decent sized boot space as well. This is 460 litres of boot space. And when we compare to some of the competitors on the market, you're talking the ID3 or the Cupra Born, this has a big space, bigger space than those cars, which is good. And then you can fold that 60-40 split seats as well to give you 1,250 litres of boot space. So you can fold it flat and get a bit more space. You can see we've fitted, 1, 2, 3 backpacks in here, and you can still fit a bit more in there as well. And you got hooks on the side for your shopping bags and whatnot. We can also get underneath here, which allows for more space. So if you want to store your cable here, you can do so as well. But what's also great is this actual board, you can easily move it as well. But what I like is the way that it sits flush with the rest of the car. So when it comes to loading things in and out of the car, it's just pretty much nice and easy and practical. Over in the back seat, it feels like a lounge here. It's very spacious, good sitting position. As you can see, my knees aren't too raised too high. Some space for your feet, not the biggest of space, but that's fine. It's a compact vehicle. And also you got really nice materials here. Feels really nice, all recycled, sustainable materials used all around here. We get the armrest that's here as well. And the cup holders or bottle holders are placed forward enough that your elbows are not going to sink into it, and it's just really nice and comfortable here. I can sit here for a long period of time and long journeys, which is really good. The headrests are nice as well. I love the mix of this fabric-y looking, if that's a word, looking material that they've used here. Space here to store documents. Another cubby hole here to store a few things. There's no climate control option here, unfortunately. Everything's controlled up front. We get the USB-C integrated nicely in the front seats as well, which is really nice. I like the thinking behind that. And then because this is the GT Line S, we get the 8-speaker, was it 4? I'll leave our numbers on the screen. Harman Kardon sound system in here, which is really good. Sounds really good so far. As it's an electric, we get flat flooring, which is good for the middle passenger. But what's also pretty cool is this 3-pin plug that you get below the middle seat. Headroom is a plenty as well. I'm about 5'11", so honestly, there's no struggle here. I can even lean up as well and still get some space. There's also a sunroof as well, but unfortunately, it's not a panoramic one that goes or stretches all the way to the back. So the passengers in the back won't take advantage of that sense of space that they'd get up front. I also like this little stripe here that they've done on either side. Matches the design language on the outside of the car. You got heated seats here as well. Again, it just feels really nice and spacious here and premium. I like what they've done. I think they've absolutely knocked this one out the park. Over in the front is very spacious and well equipped here as well. So we have two 12.3-inch displays. It supports Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, both wirelessly. And we have head-up display here as well. As mentioned already, we have Harman Kardon sound system, which sounds absolutely fantastic. And we get the sunroof that's placed here. So again, for the front passenger and the driver, we get a sense of space going on here, which is really good. You got a combination of buttons and touchscreen stuff all around here. For example, on the steering wheel, we have loads of buttons, one for the drive mode, which can go from standard to eco to sport to my drive mode, or you can also have snow mode as well. We get the gear shifter that's placed on this side, which allows them to maximize the use of space. Over on this side, we've got the stalks there as well, which is good. Behind the steering, we get the paddle shift, which aren't for changing gears. These are for changing the energy recuperation levels or regen. So you can do one pedal drive here, which is really good. And then you can see above here as well, we've got the driver monitoring system. So if you get tired, the car would know that you're getting tired to stop you from driving whilst fatigued. You've got buttons on this side for your steering, so heated steering, heated seats, and all that kind of stuff. You can also cool the seats down as well, so it's also ventilated there as well. You've got ambient lighting in here, which is nice. You can play different sound as well to keep you nice and calm. If there's anything that I didn't like about this area, would be these buttons here, because the whole thing moves for one, as you can see there, but also when you press it, it's some sort of touch interface with haptic feedback, so you kind of have to press just a bit more to get a reaction out of it. We get two USB-C ports here, one for your phone projection and one for charging, which is good. So all in all, we get 4 USB-C ports all around the car. You got your glove compartment here as well. That's not that spacious, so you can just about store something there. So you can see this thick information booklet there, or book. It's kind of taken up a lot of space. So not that big of a space over in that area. And then we look down this area, there's a lot going on here in terms of space. We have a Qi wireless charging area that's not cooled, so your phone might get hot when you're charging it, for example. You get this bottle holders that can also be moved and pushed out of the way. So you press a button and that will release it like so. Really cool. Just means you can store things of different sizes. We get plenty of space here as well to store a bunch of stuff that you want to store there. The seat feels nice and comfortable. You got a GT Line embossed on the seat. And then the headrest feels really nice and comfortable as well if you want to sit and charge and sit comfortably well. I love this fabric material that's used up here as well. Mixture of that and plastic, but the way they've done the colors here, it still looks pretty premium. Over here, we got your parking button, and one thing that's interesting here though is this actually slides forward, so you can place your laptop here, for example, or whatever it is you want to do, like your food or drinks. You can place them there while you eat and chill whilst you're charging your car. One thing that's a bit weird there though is you also get this bit here, which doesn't quite do anything. It's an armrest, I get it, but it doesn't adjust to different heights, for example. So to be honest, they could have combined this soft interface or material here. They could have combined that with this bit, which means get rid of this completely and this can just slide forward and backwards, and that can be your armrest in general. So this becomes kind of redundant having that and this at the same time. But nonetheless, I like that this slides forward and you can maximize that user space. But overall here, I think they've done a really good job. So more on the infotainment system, couple of things to point out straight away. This area here, which is your climate control, is behind the steering, which it's a bit awkward to get to at times, and sometimes as well the steering kind of blocks some information on the digital instrument cluster. But more on this infotainment area, this is very fluid, works really well. We have no issues there at all. I mean, Kia have nailed this from the start, and I mean, I said from the start, but recently it's working really well for them. You got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto as well. We can go into settings and see some of the options available. For example, you can modify the head-up display information and settings like the height of it, the brightness of it, and so on. So you can see there some information there. We can go there, display adjustment, and so on and so forth. What I like is all the time you get this information in as well for your media player, so you always know what's going on whilst you change in settings and so on and so forth. We go to sound settings, we can see the Harman Kardon system, so we can go into equalizer, change things like your treble, mid-range, bass, and so on. And then we come out of here, we can go into your vehicle. And here we can look at your driver assistance system. We have loads of safety equipment here that's by standard as well. So he's pretty well equipped when it comes to everything. So driver convenience, driver safety, all there. And we can go to driver mode as well. You can see there, you got my drive mode, so you can change things yourself and modify how things feels when you're driving. So loads of options here to play with and look at. So it works really well. When it comes to the power output and torque and all that kind of numbers, they're all pretty similar in some sort of way. Where they differ is when it comes to the range and 0 to 62 figures. So for example, they all offer 201 brake horsepower and 283 Newton meters of torque. When it comes to the 0 to 62 numbers, then we have the Air version with the small battery, gives you 7.5 seconds, 0 to 62 miles per hour figure, and then the bigger battery version is 7.7. The rest of the line, so the GT Line, the GT Line S, and the GT Line S with heat pump will give you 7.9 seconds. All of the options available will max out at 105 miles per hour. When it comes to the range, they differ as well. So the Air version with a small battery will give you 270 miles on the WLTP combined. The Air with the bigger battery will give you 375 miles. The GT Line all-wheel drive will give you 367 miles. The GT Line S with no heat pump will give you 362. Add the heat pump and you're looking at 361 miles. So we have the numbers out of the way. Let's talk about how this actually drives on the road. You've probably seen plenty of videos about this car already, but not on the UK road. So this is very important for anyone in the UK trying to buy one of these and thinking about whether it's worth even taking a look at. It's definitely worth taking a look at because it looks pretty good, especially in this pistachio green color. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. It's got loads of standard equipment as well, which is actually a good thing to have. It's a bonus because you want all the extra gizmos in your car, like the Harman Kardon sound system. I love that they give you two battery options as well, the smaller battery or the longer range battery, which gives you option in terms of what suits your lifestyle. But to be completely honest with you, I'd go for the bigger battery because sometimes bigger battery isn't always about longer range. Sometimes it's about charging less, which for me is probably something to actually bear in mind when it comes to which one you go for. But how does it drive? Well, the first thing is this has a good turning circle, so we have 10.4 meters or so. The battery is mounted between the axles as well, so you get low center of gravity. So when it comes to handling, I think it does well. However, it does well on the motorway when the roads are nice and smooth and it's just a long stretch of road. So there's no issues there at all when it comes to how steady it feels, how settled it feels. But when you start driving those twisty roads, that's when the directness of the steering kind of matters a little bit, because then you don't really get the same connection with the road as you're driving, because it then feels a bit just unsettled, it feels a bit bouncy, and you have to be a bit careful when you carry speed through those corners and twisty roads. You have different drive modes. When you put into sports mode, the steering feels a bit stiffer. You get a bit more response when it comes to when you put your foot down as well. You can one pedal drive here, and I love that you can adjust the level of energy recuperation, because sometimes not everyone wants the whole one pedal drive thing, but I would say use it because it feels nice. It's a nicer driving experience. And like I said, it's important to watch this one because it's on the UK roads, because right now I'm driving over a few potholes just to see how we're going to react if you're going to drive this around London, for example. So yeah, the potholes, it's all right. You feel it a lot more in this. You kind of feel the potholes as you're going over them. So that's something to bear in mind in terms of how comfortable it is. But once you come off these pothole areas, this damaged UK roads, it feels comfortable enough. When it comes to the range, they've quoted around 360 miles on the WLTP. You're not going to get that in the real world, we all know that, but it's still pretty decent when compared to its competitors. You know, we're talking the Volkswagen ID3, the Cupra Born, the EX30 from Volvo. So this will still perform better than them, but it's still not what you'd get in comparison to what's being quoted. What I do like though is when you look on the dash, it gives you your mileage, what you can get, but it also gives you a maximum figure as well. Because when you stick this into eco mode and you control your driving and stuff like that, then you're able to achieve higher miles. So for example, right now I have 94% battery, and it's saying the minimum miles that I'll get out of this would be 168 miles, and the maximum I'd get is 404 miles, which honestly, if I see that on my screen, that's really good. It will also encourage me to drive perhaps a bit better, more efficiently, so that way I can achieve that maximum range that you've got on it. One thing to also mention here is, I read somewhere that in some countries they will get heat pump as standard, I think in Sweden or something like that. But in the UK, you're not going to be getting heat pump as standard. It's only available as an option if you go for the GT Line S model. So again, if that's something that matters to you, you have to bear that in mind. And as part of the package, loads of tech, loads of safety equipment here. I even love this blind spot cameras that's available on the dash here that we've seen before with Kia. Means when you indicate left, the camera comes on the instrument cluster. When you turn right, the camera comes on accordingly. I think that's pretty cool. So when it comes to handling, they've done well. When it comes to the way that it feels, it's nice and quiet in this cabin. Road noise isn't too bad, but when you get on the motorway like this with the 19-inch alloys, you do get a bit more road noise compared to what you'd normally get maybe with something that's less in terms of the size. But it's not too bad. I think it's still pretty serene in here. It's nice and quiet. It's comfortable. Visibility is great in terms of the pillars. They don't block your views or anything like that. You know, I can see through the head mirrors pretty comfortably well, big opening on the back. So there's no issues there. I think they've got a really nice package here in terms of the price point and everything that you get with it as well. It's really good. I think they've done well overall there. So driving, really good. The look and feel of the car, really good. Pricing, really good. So if this doesn't start winning awards like the car of the year or anything like that, I'd be surprised if it doesn't. So yeah, they've done well. This is going to sell like hotcake. And as the president said, this possibly will end up being their best-selling EV here in the UK. But over to you though. Let me know what you think of this car. Is this something you'd consider for the price points? Which version would you go for? Which trim level? Which battery size would you go for? Drop a comment below. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.